Welcome to Football is Nice with me. I'm Russell Brand, and Gareth Roy is here as well.
Hello.
He's a Hull fan. Jenny May Finn, you support Norwich.
Yeah. And Wolves, I think.
Oh, God, it's just anyone that wears yellow. Arsenal when they're away.
What? No, it's my least favourite.
Okay, look, we'll get into it. I'm still in my intro mode. We're going to talk about football-related matters, our observations from the week's EPL and Champions League games, surely, and we'll talk about our own cultural and emotional and spiritual reactions to the world of football. Thanks for joining us. We've got no guest this week. We're going to play with a false nine.
That's right.
We nearly had Joe Cole. We couldn't do it. We'll get him soon. We nearly had Peter Shilton.
We've had a good run.
We get a lot of goalkeepers and we get a lot of West Ham players.
Yeah.
If you were to sort of like create a pie chart,
Yep.
only really Dean Windass in that pie.
Yeah.
Ben Foster, you're a goalkeeper.
More
Colin
Hull players.
Cole,
I think
yeah.
that's what we're learning. More Hull players.
Got to get them on. Got to get them Hull players on. Look, there was a lovely question of the week, but of course on the question of the week bit of paper, it's become Football is Nice hashtag. Use that hashtag whenever you're talking to us on social media, when you're reviewing us or whatever. It says question of the wee.
Well, we could do plenty of those. There's all sorts of questions that arise.
Do you say you do a wee at a football match? You have to go to those urinals. You have to queue.
Hate that.
Maybe it's a trough one,
Yep.
like a long trough, and you see other people's wee running by.
Yeah, you see the wee, and then you think, oh, that's someone else's wee.
Mingling with mine. We're all one.
Sometimes it's hot, because it's usually
Hot!
It's hot wee. Because often, I guess because, a lot of football is played in the winter months, you tend to see a lot of hot wee in those urinals.
Hot. Well, listen, we've gone on off track there.
We have.
So there's some responses here to these questions about what's the emotional you've been as a fan or a player, and did anyone laugh at you for it? Was that because of people crying at the sacking of Solskjaer?
Yeah, so apparently when Solskjaer told his players, after the game that I think he knew that he was off, and apparently they cried. I mean, this has come out of probably the United press team or something. But also Solskjaer did an interview after getting sacked where they said he was fighting the tears back. So, the theme of kind of tears and emotion has been prevalent this week.
Fighting back those tears. Yeah. Have you been fighting them back?
And I don't think I did. Actually, I fought back some tears the other day.
What did you fighting back for?
This is
with your
probably
nephew,
TMI. I spent the day with my nephew.
I knew it'd be that.
And when they left at the end, I was walking to the train station on my own, and I almost fully cried, but just did a bit of a cry.
Did a tear come?
Yeah, it really started to. And then I, in that moment, thought, come on, let's analyse this. What does this mean? And I went through all sorts of things that I won't now go on about. But yeah, basically.
Is it to do with mortality and the circle of life? And
it's
all that?
strange, isn't it, when children are involved? They elicit things that maybe part of you thought you didn't even have those emotions. I mean, he's not my kid, he's my nephew, but I'm obviously very closely tied to him and bonded to him, and you
love him.
Yeah, I'm sure you must feel it with the old daughters yourself, that it brings something out that
I've deadened those emotions.
You got to, right?
No, yeah, like I sort of with oh man, I got like a video of Peggy singing like "Oh Little Town of Bethlehem" or something, and you sort of like see it's like if it was a drug, it would be banned. If it was pornography, it would be banned. It's like a level of intensity. If it was a firearm, it would be banned. It's too high caliber sweetness. Like, oh God, you're so sweet. Like that Charles Dickens line where he goes, like you'd have to have had a heart of stone not to laugh. I think we're describing the death of a character. It's too much that you sort of kind of laugh. Like sometimes if I'm in a support group for drug addicts or whatever, like sometimes the other day someone goes, you've been a good friend to me, I love you, mate, and like the other bloke goes, yeah, I love you and all. And I sort of go, I think that's what I did. Oh God,
I can't do it.
Too powerful a love.
I think that's like bringing it back to football. I listened to our show back, as I tend to do, always do, and I think we maybe both got, or certainly I did, get a little emotional after Tony Adams. It's the same kind of thing. I think with football, it's not an area in life where you think you're going to have to necessarily deal with those emotions. In a way, it's entertainment and it's there to deal with another set of emotions, maybe anger and frustration and things. But then there's the other side of it, maybe when like a former player or manager dies, and that's really poignant, isn't it, when that happens, and they kind of do a minute's silence or whatever. That can be very poignant. Obviously, this week's what has happened at United, and I listened to Ollie get interviewed, and God, he's an incredibly sweet man, you have to say. I mean, looking back this, I was listening to Gary Neville again, as I always do, and you know how he kind of stuck up for Ollie the whole way, and he's been saying,
he sat next to him.
I'm not
13 years.
yeah,
He's
opposite
here.
him.
Scholes is there.
You listen to that as well. And I thought, good on you for sticking by it.
By your mate.
Because there is that moment in which United fans are frustrated, saying all sorts of things that in that moment maybe they mean, but as we all know about, when you're kind of emotionally rash, you can look back at that and regret it and think, I shouldn't have said those things. I kind of went too far. Whereas Neville stuck to his principles, and I think now that it's happened and Ollie's gone, people are kind of starting to come out and say, yeah, he's still a United legend. Okay, maybe this wasn't quite right, but basically he did a good job, apart from the last few months, and he'll always be a United legend. And the things that Ollie was saying as that interview happened, I think it was the day after he got sacked, were like so poignant about, it was things like, I've made some great friends at United, and I've reconnected with old friends, and now we have like enduring relationships. And then at one point he said, and that's what this is all about. Wow. And I was like, God, to you, this is all about friendship and relationships, and it was kind of lovely. I know we're getting bogged down very emotional things early on, but I guess it is, it's when someone gets fired and the kind of level of antipathy or aggression towards him over this last few weeks. First of all, it must be tough. It must be tough. They're not robots, and certainly he's not one. You can tell he's not a man that he doesn't. That's not how he goes about his business, is it? And it must be tricky. It doesn't matter how much you get paid or what your legacy is or what it isn't or what you've achieved in your life. That must be tricky.
It's a crucible of emotion that they've wandered into there, and they're sort of harnessing it. Another example of these emotions running high, I thought, was the sort of that flash between Klopp and Arteta and the impact that it had on the game.
Absolutely.
So it's weird because you wouldn't have a confrontation like that except like there's a moment of peaking. You like say if like sometimes, I guess, if you're driving, you might be more likely to have a confrontation because in the back of your mind, you're one, cut off, and two, you're in charge of a potentially dangerous vehicle. Don't you sometimes get a flash if you're driving a car? Like, oh my God, this is actually quite dangerous.
Absolutely.
Shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah, this is far too fast.
And if like you're in that sort of peak at Anfield and like there's that little sort of moment over that sort of perceived foul when there weren't one.
Yep.
And you react differently, and I suppose if your job is to sort of become the central point, the ringmaster. I heard that the ringmaster is a sort of a remnant of a shamanic festival, like that when in early settled cultures, the still nomadic people would tour and do like shows which had sort of like healing components, even in the old snake oil salesman type stuff. Anyway, when it becomes circus and you get the clown, which is a sort of a shamanic figure. For a clown, everything is dangerous. For a clown is not quite a human being. It's a weird creature. The ringmaster is the centrifugal figure. And like a coach is a totem, innit? It's like a living, like, right, you're in charge of this nominally, and we all sort of know, well, really, what can they do? What is it, and you see these transitional moments between like Lampard and Tuchel, and you go, oh, right, that's the difference, is it? That Tuchel can sort of do this and turn Chelsea into this sort of efficient, brutal, winning machine. And, when you look at Solskjaer, there's a sort of, it would be a sort of an odd miracle if he worked as a manager, yes. Because if you like, even though there are obvious differences between sort of Tuchel, Klopp, and Guardiola, I would say if there is a common, like a sort of a common trait, there's a certain what I would say I'd call intensity.
Yes.
like Tuchel, like he's not even. It's not like they're big physical people that like you think would kick your head in a car park. It's although Klopp maybe, like
it's huge. Klopp,
yeah, it does look. It looks mighty with those railings, with those sort of mighty perfect teeth, as if it's like one tooth with lines drawn on it, like
a gum shield.
Yeah, it's a gum shield of teeth. His teeth are its own gum shield. Do you need a gum shield before this? No, I brought my own. Like I think that Arteta would not do well against Klopp if it actually escalated.
When you saw that matchup, you thought he must have got close to Klopp and thought, "Hang on, no."
Like there's a lovely moment one time where Nigel Winterburn goes to, I think, confront Cantona.
Oh, right.
And then he's sort of like, or it might be Di Canio. It might be Di Canio. It's one of the, like, and like sort of, and Di Canio sort of turns and Nigel Winterburn goes,
"Sorry, I didn't mean that."
Yeah, so I'm not that sort of person actually. And I noticed a lot of people held Arteta back, like the technical team in both dugouts, like all Arteta's people held Arteta back. No one touched Klopp.
No.
No one touched him. It's like, if he's going to do this,
he'll do what he does. Let him do what he does best.
Bravo, Jurgen! Bravo!
It was amazing, wasn't it? It was amazing. They talk about that game of two halves. This was a game of one argument, really, wasn't it?
The argument was the pivotal point upon which it all transitioned, and I can identify it because I had a similar thing myself. Like I'd done a gig in the week at Guildford, and like there was a sort of I wouldn't call it a heckler. It was just someone drunk in the front row kept talking, and after my numerous petitions for the person to be quiet, I eventually Klopp style lost it. Went, can you please, Basil Fawlty style, really, please be quiet? Like that.
Was Klopp in your mind as an inspiration at this point?
Actually,
somewhere
it hadn't happened yet.
Oh, I see.
But would have been. But after I did it, the gig got better. It changed the energy the same way as that game changed. Like all the pundits and commentators said, the game changed. It galvanised. It brought together the energy. Like Arsenal were doing quite well and managing Liverpool up to that point, but that took it to a new energetic level. That makes you realise there are sort of psychic fields at play. That's why it's sorrowful when Solskjaer leaves, because it's not just, Manchester United's just $1 billion corporation, who cares really? It's not. It's all people's emotions and dreams are all tied up in it, and they did this thing for a while, and it was kind of mental after that period where he won 10 games. And I remember Gary Neville going, a few questions. When can you start the job? How much do you want to get paid after they beat PSG? Sure. I think it was that Lego. And then
Ferdinand was like, sign the contract. I noticed Carragher's ribbing him for that.
Yeah.
Today with Carrick. Sign the contract. It's one game. But you're right. Sorry to come back to, I enjoy your analysis of psychic fields very much.
Oh, you like the psychic fields?
I think that's what the point of this podcast is. It's like, let's get behind what everyone's feeling.
What is being harnessed?
I think Solskjaer's a brilliant example. I think, there's a lot of attention this week about the state of Man United and the way that they've been run as a business, the fact that they've now got an interim in Michael Carrick.
That's a very tiny interstitial.
I love that.
Between an interim, there's an interim.
interim. I think that's brilliant.
Is it like if Michael Carrick goes to the toilet, someone else takes over during that time? Yeah. Like, bloody hell, hold on a minute. This is like an Escher painting of someone going downstairs forever, or a hand drawing itself. Like, you can't have so many interims that you become like the atom. Right, Michael Carrick's arm is in charge for this 10 minutes.
But yeah, there's been so much attention on it, and the kind of uniqueness of this situation. I think it was Chris Sutton say the other night that there's no other club in the country that would have let this happen, that would have given a guy a 3-year contract a matter of months ago, then sacked him. Apparently Mike Phelan got a new contract like 3 weeks ago.
Mike, things are going great. I'm particularly pleased with the game against Liverpool there. That dispiriting smackdown at the hands of your fiercest rival. Could you carry on for a couple more years? Yeah. Providing. Oh, yeah, no problem, mate. Yeah,
it's a really strange situation, that they've let him go, and you could say maybe if they'd have even lost 2-1 to Watford, they wouldn't have let him go, but they have. But the fact that United obviously haven't got anything in plan, and they were saying there's not another club in the country, doesn't matter what league you're in, that would have allowed that to happen. And that's something to do with their relationship with Solskjaer, in that they wanted this to work so much. And that must be partly an emotional decision. Partly.
When Liverpool say this means more, like Liverpool, like Liverpool's got that energy of like particularly people our age, the 80s, Heysel, Hillsborough, the tragedies associated with Liverpool, and Liverpool's somewhat sort of unique principality identity, perhaps comparable to Newcastle. Like, do you feel though, with Manchester United, there is like with the George Best, Munich crash, Matt Busby, that there is some sort of uniquely sort of like there's a romanticism, a damaged romanticism about Manchester United that like they're almost the Fergie era is the blip. Like because they did stay with him long enough for him to build a dynasty, and that really what's more common is like I can still sort of vaguely remember Ron Atkinson. I don't remember Tommy Docherty, but they did have this series of interstitial managers, obviously between Busby and Fergie, that were underachievers, that experienced relegation and all this kind of thing. Is there something wounded about Manchester United, the great sort of like a sort of an Achilles style, the wounded hero? I wonder if it's part of their destiny not to be, like you can see something like, Real Madrid, something like a sort of fierce, serrated monster, and even Man City. What is Man City becoming? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I mean, I think, again, listening to Neville the other day talking about the kind of level of consistency of Man City now is that they are the team in Manchester, that they're the team to aspire to for Man United, which is a mad thing to say going back, even 10 years.
Yeah, but he even said like the youth players coming through now.
That's right.
Like that's starting to pay dividends. That they brought in a whole set of people, not only Pep, but like a team around him that could sort of generate sort of real structure.
Yeah, it's fascinating, to see what's going to happen. And of course, now it's like, who's the next actual manager? Who's the next interim? Who's the next actual manager? Will Pochettino go? Apparently, Pochettino, from what people are saying, he wants to go to United.
Well, can I just say this about Pochettino? It isn't like so if you get a team to a Champions League final, Tottenham. It's like some people say, look, I'll just use this as an opportunity to read out a review. Mixed feelings, says Losty123. Although I'm a massive fan of this podcast.
Oh, you're reading the worst review.
The lack of ex-Tottenham players as guests so far has left me disheartened and disillusioned. On a side note, the bird producer. Is that sexism? Would you say, Jen?
Yeah, but I guess it's kind of affectionate.
The bird producer has a voice that was created for ASMR. Please, because you could have just said producer. I'm going to cut that out. I would not cut it from the thing, but this is showing me that I'm a better guy than I ever was. The producer. Yeah?
Yeah. Absolutely. I thought maybe it was a connection to the Canaries or something, but it's not.
I know. I'm not an actual bird.
Stretching there, aren't I?
Yeah. But the producer has a voice that was created for ASMR. Please try and get an ex-Spurs player on soon. Solid 4. All right. So anyway, so that's the mention of Tottenham. Now we're discussing Tottenham right now. It is an incredible achievement to get the kind of stability and the style of play that Pochettino achieved at Spurs. They got to that final. This is a thing I was sort of astonished to learn the other day, and it shows that I don't pay enough attention to football. Paris Saint-Germain didn't win Ligue 1 last year. That's no excuse.
No.
You've got Mbappe and Neymar on your side, and you've got to play against like Lille one, innit?
Yep.
What's going on?
I know, it's amazing. It's hardly a brilliant first season for Pochettino.
What? Like he had a whole season, so didn't he? He had a whole season.
Did he, or did he come at Christmas? I can't actually remember now.
He took over from Tuchel, right?
Tuchel, didn't he? Yeah. So let's say it was a season. But even if it wasn't, they wouldn't have been far off the top. So even to have lost the league at any stage really last season, I know they're like 13 points clear or something this season.
So they are going to.
So they are going to win it this year, no doubt about it. But you have to, don't you, with those players?
You would think so. So,
but I guess your point is Pochettino all that great? Ultimately, is kind of what you're saying.
Yeah, you can't blame him for not winning a Champions League final. It's a knockout competition. You get to the final, can go either way, that kind of thing. That result against Ajax and all that. He did. There's some sort of amazing stuff. And that time where Spurs used to beat City a lot and all of that.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about it, if he goes to United, he has to win things, doesn't he? Ultimately, he has to win things. But I read or heard this week that his family still lives in London. And what they're saying is that he's unsettled in Paris, and because he still lives in a hotel. And they're
Why
saying
don't managers do that? That's
what Mourinho did.
It ain't hard to rent a house,
No,
Like, if you really want to, like, go on, like, Airbnb. Even that looks better.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? Get one of the posh ones off Airbnb. If you go up to sort of 500, 600, 700 quid a night on Airbnb, they'll cut you a deal.
We all know that. We all know that.
Listen, let me help you in the rarefied world of elites. You go on expensive settings on Airbnb.
Yeah.
Or even there's things that are better in Airbnb aimed at the posh. Right?
Yeah.
You go on there, and if you're taking it for 6 months, Poch, like in Paris, you can have some amazing apartment.
Well,
I know you're worried about Poch. Who's doing your cooking? You get a cook. You've been working at Paris Saint-Germain. You're in France. Get Ratatouille. Get that rat round. He'll do it.
You could probably eat. I would eat at the club.
Eat at the club. Have a chef at the club. Eat the healthy meals with the players.
I'd do that.
Why are you not eating at the club, Jenny? Though? What?
Yeah, but wouldn't he want to feel cozy at home? If he was eating at the club, wouldn't he feel like he's in a canteen, like he's a bit,
But he's not going to. What's he getting? Room service at the moment?
He must be. He's eating up there with all them napkins
I
and
hate
that little pot of mayonnaise.
Too many ketchups they give you.
Wasteful. Little apricot jam in them, and that's quite nice. Take that home. Your nana wants that.
Yeah, the fries are always cold.
Cold fries.
You know, by the time it's got up there, they put that
adult channel.
They put that.
Could you make pornography come on my TV set?
Yeah, it can't. But I mean, Mourinho got a lot of stick for that, didn't he?
He stayed at the Lowry, lovely hotel.
Yeah, I was just there far too long though, because there is an element of Partridge to it, of like living in a hotel. They're not for living in.
You don't live in a hotel. The cracks appear. What's the longest you've ever spent in a hotel?
Well, like a couple of nights.
Right, don't go any longer than that. I've spent a lot of time.
The veneer disappears.
The veneer
you can see the workings,
Absolutely.
like the staff coming to work, and
you see that there's a little room where they keep the towels there.
Oh, they
look,
sometimes
you
leave the
again.
door open, don't they?
Yeah, and you see them in there and you think, oh, it's not right. They're not paying these people enough. This is wrong. I've lived at hotels for a long period of time while making film. I lived at Turtle Bay Resort in Hawaii while I was making a little movie called Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Now, like the room starts to become like a prisoner's cell.
Yeah.
You sort of personalise it or whatever and put your own stuff up everywhere. But that's sort of, you're ruining it.
You're
ruining its pristineness. It's sort of anonymity.
But you're fighting the pristineness as well, because you need some personality brought to it as well.
Right.
It's a tricky thing, the old hotel room psychology.
I lived at the Savoy much too long. I lived at the Savoy in London for I think 6 months.
What?
Like some madman.
Yeah.
What was that? What were you doing there? I think I visited you there actually.
I moved back from America, from Los Angeles, I think, to be in love. And then, like, I was being in love and I was living at the Savoy. It was quite what I did like, is everyone treated me nice. Like, oh, Mr. Brand, and someone taking the top hat off. I thought, oh, this is cool. I'm like someone out of a film.
Yeah, but you could pay someone to do that and it would still be cheaper.
Poch, you can have someone with a top hat.
Yeah.
Maybe Neymar. Like, you can take off, hey, Mr. Pochettino.
Is that Neymar's accent?
Yeah, Mr. Pochettino. I'm using the Conte accent from last week.
Yeah, it's applicable across.
Of course it is.
Various cultures.
What assumptions
and languages
lie underneath that? A little bit of work.
Yeah, I think, if it was just the man taking his hat off.
I think that being a football manager of a big club and staying in a hotel is the equivalent of being a cult leader and sleeping with the people in your cult.
Right.
It's like an obvious blunder.
Yeah.
Like, don't do that.
Don't do that. It
Don't
never
sleep
works.
with the people in your cult.
Because there's not a precedent for it. Like, if you could go, well, of course, we all remember Bill Shankly, who famously lived in a hotel, and Alex Ferguson, who for 30 years lived in a hotel. It's
Jock Stein, his masterful reign at Celtic, which we all remind him all the more for the way he stayed at a Premier Inn
travel tough
in Glasgow. Oh, yeah, it really showed his level of commitment. The whole Celtic team was born in a 3-mile radius of the ground. And Jock Stein lived in a hotel. Don't know, it's just a bed and breakfast and then they want so much money in the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like no good football manager has ever lived in an hotel.
No, nothing good can come from this.
It's not Monopoly, where you get an hotel on every square. Get into an house.
And you're right, it's Paris. I mean, even if you said, maybe Mourinho could have said, the thing is, Manchester's tricky. I'm working out which are the nice areas and some of them aren't so great. This is Paris. It's Paris. You could find a lovely place.
It's horrible here in Paris. Hold on a minute. Do you know that when the Nazi general that was in charged with detonating bombs as the Germans withdrew, he refused to do it? Because he said, Paris is too beautiful. I'm not going to do it.
Wow.
That was a Nazi under the orders of a little bossy boots by the name of Sir Henry Hitler. So if that guy can stand up to Hitler, Pochettino can get himself a nice pad.
Gaff. Yeah.
Get a gaff. Poch.
Apparently his family still live in London, and they're saying that, that's an enticement for him to move back to England.
It's still too far. I mean, what's he going to do? Get a jet every day?
Yeah.
Helicopters?
Yeah. Because you don't want to get on that train. That train from London to Manchester is not nice.
People up and down the aisles, even first class isn't very nice. What do you know what first class is on a train these days? You get a little headdress with a bit of paper
that is
behind your head. That's it.
I got it the other day.
Welcome to first class. Bit of paper behind your head there now, mate. You don't have to have other people's hair grease and scabs and crabs down your neck hole.
I got one the other day, and I'll tell you the reason why. It's because it was cheaper.
Class?
It was cheaper to get first class than second class. So obviously I got it, and in my mind, because I don't know if I've ever gone first class on a train, and this was I was going to Leeds actually.
Why?
For a christening, for another godchild of mine, rival godchild.
I'm not happy about that, girl. I didn't know about that. I felt a feeling.
It's a new addition.
How old is it? New, is it?
No, he's not new.
Listen,
no.
you got as long as you prefer my child.
I think a similar age.
I'll be happy. I want a clear commitment going forward. I don't want you being the equivalent of Pochettino.
No.
Staying in a hotel of godfathery.
Pick a side.
Yeah, no, actually, you don't have to. Love is the answer. We know that. All right, fair enough.
But anyway, you are right. First of all, it was complete. Of course, it was. It was completely full up. I was expecting like. What's that fancy train that you take?
The Orient Express.
That's what I had in my mind.
Hello, sir. Welcome. Will you be dining with us, Mr. Roy?
Yeah.
It's not that, is it, mate?
Was it a Virgin train?
It was I think it was a Virgin train.
That's probably not the least nice first class. Great Western's quite nice.
It was awful. It was cramped. It was completely full because obviously team trip.
Let's go on the Orient Express. But there's been a murder.
Anyway, it was awful. All we got was like a free bap. Yeah,
bap ain't even a first class food.
It wasn't first class. It was awful. I ate it and regret. You know when you're eating something and already regretting it as you're eating it. I live
in this hotel in France, and all I got is Mbappe. Thank you, everyone.
Yes,
professional comic.
That's why we do this show.
Moments like that.
Moments like that.
These little moments. Well, I think we've talked about a few things there, and no one can deny that. Now, another review on the iTunes app. Excellent, says Steege. I'm not really a fan of football. I'm just here for the breakfast. I've decided to not eat breakfast on air anymore. I think it's a sickening disgrace, and I'm not going to do it anymore. A below-average care home meets football focus, says David off Bunyan.
A below-average care home.
Below-average. That means we'd all have probably COVID. Is that
he has to get political, doesn't he?
He has to politicise it. It's not a political matter, it's a medical matter. Yeah. Is that the crazed mutterings of two men and a woman in a low security prison? No, it's football is nice. An excellent podcast where you can hear insightful deep dives into the psychology and meaning of football with a backing track of a man eating 4 meals. That's a really good review. Thank you, David off Bunyan.
These are great.
Luke and Neil love this, says Lukey Hole. Not only do we love this podcast as an individual, but it's brought us closer together as friends. Oh, Luke and Neil, may you find love together, you beautiful young men. Thank you very much.
So lovely. Did you see, speaking about the Man United thrashing by Watford?
It's shocking.
What we've been talking about recently is sports bras, isn't it, for men?
Dennis
took his bra off.
He not only took his top off to celebrate, which is a yellow card offence, he actually took off his bra. Which
I know.
Actually, some ancient part of me was aroused
me
by
too.
it because I'm not used to seeing someone.
No.
If someone takes off a bra, that normally means Christmas is a-coming. So what's Dennis doing? He had a beautiful body.
Amazing body. I mean, that's the other part of it, isn't it? It's a human being taking off a bra with an incredible body. I mean, what's that going to do to you?
We're crossing over now into a whole different genre, aren't we, Dennis?
Also, they were beating Man United, so that's another...
Such a lot of charge. Solskjaer's going to get the sack. It's also full of meaning and potent.
Yeah.
There's Dennis taking off a bra. I mean, if he'd have had nipple tassels on under that, or he took his shorts down and he was wearing like a G-string with the Diamante studs over the groin, or one of those novelty joke shop elephant ones where Willie goes in a little sleeve and there's ears.
Yeah.
Like, possibly that.
All suggestions, Dennis.
Dennis, for your next celebration, I'll tell you who would do this, is Mikhail Antonio.
Of course he
would, because he's very innovative when it comes to celebrations.
We could come up with a list of celebrations and you could tweet. I was going to say tweet them, but you know.
Mikhail Antonio.
How much is he going to pay for celebrations? Is this your new business plan?
Okay, guys, things are going well with the YouTube videos. So I've decided what we're going to do now is sell goal celebrations. What have you noticed? Everyone Everyone's complaining about the knee slide. So we're going to come up with some new celebrations, sell them to top-notch players.
They're going to be saucy.
Have a pair of scissors stowed on your leg. Now that is dangerous for a number of reasons. So they've got to be little ones, then ones that you give kids. Yeah. Then celebration, just cut the nipples out of your shirt and then just go, yeah! And then carry on with the game.
Do you remember I told you about the Tom Huddleston celebration from years ago?
Tell me it again.
Well, he'd grown his hair for charity, really big, and then he'd said, I'll cut it when I score a goal. And he wasn't a frequent scorer of goals.
Is he sort of like a defensive midfielder? Or
yeah. But then he scored against Fulham. I think we thrashed them 6-0 or 6-1 that day. God, the good old days in the Premier League. Anyway, so he ran to the side of the pitch and someone pulled out a pair of scissors and chopped some hair off. So we could do the equivalent of that, but just with nipples.
There's probably a rule against doing that.
Right.
Revealing your nipples.
Yeah.
You know, like you don't get that. In the old days, you get Terry Butcher with a bandage on your head all covered in blood. These days, someone's shirt would get torn or someone's shoe would fall off Gaza and he'd play the game with only one shoe on for a bit.
Why are companies not sponsoring bras now?
They will, mate.
Do you reckon that'll happen? The bra will get sponsored? Because that's an opportunity, isn't it? There's so many shirts coming off and revealing bras.
I thought VAR was going to be an opportunity that they go, okay, we're going to have a quick break now because this is why this VAR happens. And then you go, well, this break is brought to you. But that's what I thought. But it hasn't happened. So it shows that I've become very cynical about the machinery of capitalism.
Well, it hasn't yet,
sport.
Russell. It hasn't yet.
Hasn't yet.
Did you see the lovely moment with Jose Mourinho?
Look, what I'll say is you're sneaking into breakdown here without the jingle, aren't you?
Yeah.
It's
not
Jen.
Yeah. Right, so
sorry,
look, I can tell you are because I'm listening to the content, and I know how to spot a content shift because I've been working in media for a long time. And you said the Dennis thing, which by the way I'd also have on my little list. And when I get to it now, it's going to be nullified, and it's not have had the proper jingle.
I apologise. Let's get the jingle in. Yeah.
What? And you can tell us about. This is Russell's football breakdown.
This is Russell's breakdown.
Russell's breakdown. Let's get on with.
No, he's done it again.
Jenny, didn't you see a football match though?
Yeah.
What was
my
it?
My first one of the whole season.
Where'd you go?
My friend Danny Bolton invited me over to watch the Chelsea game.
Chelsea versus whom precisely? Leicester.
Yeah.
Hang on, his name's Danny Bolton.
Yeah.
And he supports
Chelsea. Bolton. Norwich.
You've got to go
Chelsea.
with Bolton, haven't you?
Yeah, but he was born in London.
Bolton by name, Bolton by nature.
Doesn't seem to stop the Man United fans.
Hey, what about that? See?
And I checked my prediction beforehand.
How did it go? Shall I look at the predictions? We do predictions.
Are we getting onto the predictions already?
And
look, we're just glancing them. Don't get excited.
Did I tell you that I did it?
Oh, this is last week's. Because it's I'm looking at West Ham 3-2.
Is it?
There's no results here, Jenny.
Oh, sorry.
Go on, but tell us.
I got it exactly right.
You got it exactly right.
Yeah.
What was it? That 3-0.
Yep.
Well done,
I
Jen.
was so happy because then
I said the same.
There was 3. No, you didn't.
Oh no, for Man City, I said the same. Got that right.
And then they scored 3 goals after that, but they were all offside.
Well done, Jen. This is the best contribution you've made.
So
That's
happy.
not saying much.
I was really happy.
Well done. No, it's good. We've attached emotion to it. Well done, Jen.
Do you think you're in now? Do you think you're along for the ride?
If someone else invites me over to watch it, yeah.
Oh, so there's got to be an invite.
Yeah, because I don't like watching it on my own.
Well, apparently, mate, you're first with 46 points. I'm second with 42 points. And Jenny May is 35 points third.
Hang on a minute.
I did amazing.
That is not right.
I got 3 games exactly right. I got the Aston Villa one right too.
You got 3 games exactly right?
Yeah. Hold on, I'll print it.
Hang on.
Gareth's upset.
I got more points than you've given me there.
No, I'll print it.
No.
Look, let's get into it later. Let's just remember it was a bad week for football. Solskjaer lost his job. West Ham lost to Wolves. It was a difficult time for all of us. Now, the question we were asking around the emotions of Solskjaer, I know you're taking them results real seriously, aren't you?
Yeah,
You're really bristling with it all. Like Perry Crow, like we asked, what's the most emotional you've been? Have you cried as a fan? And what happened? And we had some great responses on the social media site. I believe its name is Twitter.
It is, yes.
Perry Crows, which is good because that's a type of bird. And Twitter, like, you know, I bet they would have changed their name Twitter if they could have their time again.
Do you reckon?
Well, it's a stupid name, isn't it? Twitter. Yeah. When you hear American people say Twitter.
There's lots of stupid names though,
Twitter.
Aren't there?
What else is a stupid
I mean, they're
name?
all
Facebook, stupid.
Google. I mean, they're all
Google,
daft names.
stupid.
And maybe it helps.
Apple's a good name.
Instagram.
YouTube. Pretty good name, YouTube.
Yeah, I guess so.
Instagram sounds a bit sort of like...
TikTok's pretty stupid.
TikTok
is
is
stupid.
ridiculous.
Yep.
Like, Yeah, I don't know.
WhatsApp is kind of stupid because it's like a play on
Stupid.
WhatsApp.
I think they go for stupid stuff on purpose.
To annoy us.
Yeah.
Perry Crows says on Twitter, when John Terry missed his Champions League penalty, I refused to speak to my mate at work who was called Terry for 2 weeks. I can't talk to Terry, not after that. It's too painful to say that name.
Phenomenal.
John Christie, JD Christie 38 on Twitter. I cried when Leicester City drew 0-0 with Stoke and were relegated to League One. Pitch invasion from the Stoke fans as they were promoted. As I tried to clap our players off, a big bold fella grabbed me, pushed my head into his breasts and whispered, "Don't let them see you cry." What I like about this is the breasts.
Yes.
A big bald fella with breasts, and like the moment of being pushed into some breasts.
And just in that moment, just kind of relenting and just letting it happen.
Don't let them see you cry as well. Like, don't give them the satisfaction. They're celebrating their own. They're celebrating their own promotion. Actually, the Stoke fans. They're not going to like glow. Aha!
Yeah.
And also,
and
what's
down.
more,
Although
you're down.
They're not as satisfying. That is the ultimate, though, isn't it?
You're promoted. They're down.
Relegated.
What a significant match this was for us all.
That's the
Kiss of the fingers, puckered up bum.
It is.
Brexit Decay on Instagram says, I was living in America and absolutely had to be in a meeting during the Liverpool-Milan 3-3 final.
Oh.
I secretly checked the scores on my laptop while my boss gave a really dull PowerPoint presentation. Not like my meetings, guys?
Absolutely not.
Real insights.
Riveting.
Into riveting stuff. When Liverpool equalised, the only thing I could do to stop shouting was to pinch my testicle skin as hard as I could. I think my expression confused my co-workers, and it didn't help that my hand was under the table. Well done, Brexit Decay on Instagram.
Fantastic.
To squeeze the testicle skin, you can actually, if you investigate this, fellas, you can actually squeeze the testicle skin quite hard. You can go quite hard there. What I would advise strongly against is erring and pinching one of the testes themselves.
Yeah.
Those little sweet. Well, I can see from your expression, Gal, that you're concerned. But the skin, no, Jen?
No.
What is this? Because I'm going into S&M territory?
It's making me feel weird.
Uneasy.
Yeah.
All right, I'll stop. Thank you for telling me. I just want to improve. I just want to be a good co-worker, good ally, yeah? Paul Osborne.
But the skin, you say?
But if you pinch it so hard, it can take more than you would believe. I would never put a nail through it like them lads, but that's their business. I took Paul Osborne on YouTube. I took my soon-to-be father-in-law to the pub to ask for my wife's hand. It all went great, so we had a few drinks and stayed to watch the game. After an increasingly drunk and angry debate about Shola Amobi, my wife's father declared me unfit for his daughter, and I started crying. It's been awkward between us ever since. What would you say about
they
Shola?
did get married, it sounds like. Yeah.
They got married, it's not been good, because he cried in front of his father-in-law. About
Shola Amobi.
Amobi. Yeah. You can have an argument about Shola Amobi. All well and good.
Yeah.
Don't be reduced to what could someone say about anyone?
Yeah. I wonder, were they broadly supportive or...
I feel like they're both Newcastle fans.
Right. Passionate people.
Passionate men. They're talking about marriage and like they're drunk now as well. And then one of them, I presume, saying Shola Amobi should be given more time to...
Unless he used the phrase, Shola Amobi and Newcastle are the perfect marriage.
You don't know much about marriage then, son, because I tell you, we need a better, more reliable fucking forward that scores more frequently. I tell you, if you treat my fucking daughter like that, you'll be out in your fucking ear.
Yeah,
like
maybe that's how it went.
I'm pretty pleased with that impression.
It's very good.
Thanks.
There was a pause after I said it. And I thought, this was the wrong thing to say, but you went with it.
Thanks. Julie Gangley, the final one. On YouTube, when Thierry Henry left Arsenal for Barcelona, I told my husband I probably wouldn't ever love again. He didn't look impressed. There you go. That's some of your responses. Well done. Really well done. Well done, Christina, for those selections. Well done, you, the people of Earth, for participating in this lovely, what I will call a gambit. Now, we've already... What are you smiling now?
I was just thinking...
I've not had any breakfast.
No, people are funny, actually. That's all I was thinking.
I'm wearing long sleeves.
You've got your long sleeve. Is this a new
It's the West Ham away kit. It's a long sleeve one. I've had it a while. My daughter was wearing it the other day. And she was going, hello, I'm Daddy. I'm wearing glasses. Oh, I'm Russell. Like that in the mirror, wearing this. It was pretty impressive to see how she saw me.
Yeah.
She also wants to start selling art. She goes, see this, my picture. Put it on your newspaper and I'll get money and I'll put it on my bedside table.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's like the new Hunter Biden.
she's exploiting Pappy. I'll do anything for that kid. We'll have to cover this up. Don't talk about it in the papers.
Probably a similar level of quality as well.
Yeah, a bit of politics. Well done. Right. Well done, Gal. Now, as we're into the breakdown section of the show, let us look at some of the funny observations I've made over the week. What about when they go, Watford should be the story? You know, when Watford beat Man U 4-1. Everyone's going to talk about Man U. Watford should be the story. Not really. Not if you understand how media works.
They're very careful to do that on the BBC, especially, aren't they?
Because they think Watford fans will go, we beat United, and all you're doing is sort of talking about Harry Maguire and that stupid, reckless challenge.
Well, I hadn't thought of this before, but I guess it has something to do with the fact of being a responsible broadcaster.
Right, balance.
Because you are fair and balanced, and so therefore...
Do you have to always be fair and balanced? It's impossible because... There is no literal pole between which you're in balance. Say, for example, you apply it to politics. You've got to be balanced. Oh, right. And you're balanced between Labour and Conservatives. Well, what about the territory that you're neglecting by operating within that narrow Overton window, which is constructed by the very media? We do a video about this, Gal. Yeah, so how can you provide balance? It's conceptually impossible.
But it is interesting, the difference between, say, Sky and the BBC on something.
What does Sky do?
Well, Sky will just stick on the Solskjaer because they know
that's what people want.
That's what people
want. Commercial broadcaster.
Absolutely, yeah. So there is a difference, and you do hear that phrase more on Match of the Day when they say the real story is...
Should be, but it's not, because like the media energy, is around Solskjaer's going to get sacked, Manchester United is one of the most supported clubs in the world. Yeah. You can't say like, guess what? Watford have done this thing.
He took off his bra.
What? Although we have spent more time talking about that.
Well, that's because we...
Balanced, naturally, sticking up for the little guy. That's it. Especially sexy little guys in bras. That's what we'll really stick up for.
We bring you the stories that the mainstream would not.
That's one of
our policies.
That should be our slogan. Simple, effective. Fernandez bit where he sort of goes, no. People are trying...
That was one of the big stories, wasn't it?
Yeah, like, why didn't you just try harder during the match?
That's right.
And put it into that.
Also, what I thought was, it was a difficult and slightly complex message
to convey with gesture
to a crowd. When
what? You blame Solskjaer? Blameth I. Blameth I.
And the players who should do more and should have done more. We do try, but it wasn't good enough. But do blame us, but do try and understand.
Solskjaer. There's too many sub-clauses and conditions. It's not like F off. Yeah. You can convey that through gesture very efficiently. And this leads me to one of my breakdown observations. Too many gestures from players, even when celebrating goals, are emphasising sensory activity. For example, putting your hands to your ears as if you're listening to some noise, like, oh, what are you saying now? Or whatever. Or didn't Harry Maguire put his fingers actually inside of his ears? 2 fingers down his lug holes.
I didn't see that, but I did see...
He did it for England, I think, when he scored for England.
And it was a gesture to the media.
To the boo boys.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people, this is very common.
Roy Keane did not like that.
Roy Keane don't like that. Roy Keane. I was listening to a TalkSport phone-in and someone was going like, who should they get as their interim manager? Someone suggested Roy Keane. And I was like, I don't think so. Like, Roy Keane's upsetting them miles away. Like when he's in the TV show, let him actually in their environment. They're people are in their own lives. They won't be able to cope with Roy's sort of... He's too hard, Roy, isn't he?
Steve Bruce is another one mentioned.
That's outrageous as well. What
is it?
Well, how much damage does Steve Bruce have to do?
Why would he put himself forward for that? Surely he hasn't.
Steve, don't do it.
But sorry, carry on.
And Alex Ferguson, so I was going, get Fergie back, but now you can't have him back again. Let the man rest and be with Cafe. We only left the job for ultimately to be with Cafe.
Yeah.
He's not been with Cafe enough, in my view, because he's always having to tell Solskjaer what to do.
I wonder if there's any bit of Cathy that misses the days he was a manager. Though.
Get out of the house. You're always under my feet. Sat here on the phone to Solskjaer the whole time, telling him what to do.
Willing Solskjaer to do well.
Willing him
Cathy
to do well.
Anyway. Yeah, because there is that thing of like for far too long the excuse for him leaving the job was Cathy, wasn't it?
Yeah. Cathy, it's me, it's Fergie. I've come home now.
But I wonder if Cathy wanted that. I mean, maybe she enjoyed it as it was.
She must have made it clear, I'm assuming, Gal, before he made such a radical move as to resign his post at Manchester United, plunging them into a decade of despair. Although financially, everything's okay, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, there you go. Well, it's never clean cut though, is it? The old relationships.
What, marriage?
Yeah, there will be days where Kathy.
Oh, I wish she was
Ferguson,
back at Man United.
She's probably said
Sir
it.
Alex.
She's probably during an argument. You know, you say things you don't mean.
Do you know what I think, Sir Alex? I wish you actually were back now, Old Trafford or the Carrington training ground, getting on with your job.
Why don't you give him a call? Go on, see if I can. Give him a call.
I will. I bloody will. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
He'll mind game Kathy.
That will have happened.
Maybe Kathy's the one person who don't fall for Fergie mind games, and that's why he loves her.
Ah,
Isn't that a lovely thought?
Fergie time.
So, come on, it's Fergie time, Kathy. It's Fergie time when I say so. Get back to that club. Now, but on to my other observations of the week's news.
Of course.
During the Chelsea versus Leicester game, Chilwell set up a Rudiger goal. I think it was from a corner.
Yeah.
I couldn't help but notice in the celebrations that Chilwell received more celebrations.
Yes, he did.
Well, that's not right. Rudiger's the scorer. There's a format.
Well, I guess
Because
the
it was a
bigger
good setup.
story is the context of ex-Leicester, because he was getting a lot of boos from the Leicester fans.
Oh, I see. Thank you for explaining.
I see.
They like to buy a Leicester player
They
at
absolutely
Chelsea,
do.
don't they?
I mean,
Kante, we'll have him.
They were the two
Chilwell,
standout
we'll have
players.
him.
Probably those
Even
two.
Drinkwater,
Yeah,
whose
that
name's got too much information in it. If you tell a child that someone's called Drinkwater,
Yeah.
they go, what? Like, say Dr. Dolittle, for ages I had to explain to him, look, you're focusing on the wrong thing. It's not that he does Dolittle. I go, look, I see your point. Dolittle sounds like he does little. But why is he called that? He's talking to his animals. He's actually very busy.
Yeah,
Look at him talking to them.
they never stop.
He's doing something all the time. I'm going, right, yeah, look, I get you kids, but I can't stay on this point no more. I've got to move on. So if I say Danny Drinkwater, what's it? What? Why is he called that? Does he drink water? Jen, did you just drink some water because we said that? Is that how suggestible you are? You're like a Maslow experiment.
I'm not.
You are like
I'm not.
a
I wanted a sip
Maslow.
of my coffee.
You had a drink of your water,
I don't drink water.
and Doolittle just about sums you up.
No.
Pretty pleased with that.
Had a few of them today, mate.
What, those digs?
Yeah. No, the little gags.
Yeah, we've been all right. We're doing okay. We're playing with a false nine, haven't we? Got no guests.
That's it. Yeah.
No joke.
Yeah, we're giving them extra this week, aren't we?
Extra us, you
Yeah.
lucky swines. Okay, so that's because of context. It was because Chilwell
Yes.
silenced them boo boys.
Yes, that's right. And he received. It's interesting because he receives more booing from Leicester fans than Kante does. And
Kante, you can't not like Kante.
Well, I
He's
think that's
playing
the
with
thing.
such joy and beauty, and he doesn't seem to me like a lifestyle guy.
No,
Kante.
he drives a Mini, doesn't he?
Oh, brilliant! He doesn't care. He just doesn't care.
No.
Gets in his Mini, goes plays football, probably gives loads of money away. I bet.
Yeah, I think when he was in, I researched him once for a show that I worked on, and he, when he was playing in France, he would still run to work.
I've just run there. No, we got a game, mate.
Yeah.
You look tired. I ain't tired.
Yeah,
I did that for a warm up.
Yeah.
What a guy.
when he had, he had the money to buy a car, but he just was used to running to.
Could presumably a bus would have been available, even if he was at the. Where was he? Where did Leicester get him? Was it like Lille,
I
Leon?
wish I could have that information to hand.
Okay, back to now we're talking about Arsenal versus Liverpool at Anfield. I like Klopp's trainers. I've said it before, I say it again. I like them. I've got a pair that I like them. I like looking at them. I've already told you, less people held Klopp back. People are cupping their ears more. Klopp cupped his ears.
Yes, he did.
Do you accept Jota? Do you accept him? Jota?
What about him would I not accept?
Well, the front three is Mane, Firmino, and Salah. Sometimes it's Jota. Now,
Yes.
Divock Origi, sometimes he'll be in there.
People like that. You want to do it again? The little song that you did?
Divock Origi, he's my baby. Divock Origi. I just like saying Divock Origi. It's a
like
lovely noise.
Yeah.
Jota, do you accept it that he's there and that that's happening? You accept it?
Yeah, well, look, I think the thing maybe where you're getting this from is that there's such an established front three at Liverpool. A lot of people would say kind of there's an established...
You looked at me like I was in a jar again there, Gal.
I was trying to understand where this kind of comes from, because you look at a team like and a squad like Chelsea and Man City, and maybe the reason why they're so formidable this season and in the past for Man City is that they have such an interchangeable squad. Chelsea at the moment, no Lukaku, no Werner.
Can't believe it.
Doesn't matter. They still score 4 against Juve. They are a machine at the moment. And Man City have kind of had the same thing for the last 3 or 4 years. And that is probably because they have so many forward options especially, but squad options in general. And you would say that it's not the case with Liverpool. They rely so heavily on that first 11, 12, 13, 14 max. So
Chelsea going to win the league.
Yeah, they probably are. Yeah, although I've got a sneaky feeling about Man City. I don't know. I think it'll be that thing of get to the last half a dozen games, and that's where, if they're all about, those 3 are kind of in the similarish position, that's when the pressure will kick in.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously Tuchel has shown that he can handle the pressure.
Because Liverpool have got those like players that are sort of irreplaceable and sort of iconic. Salah, Van Dijk, like the Alisson, I suppose. I mean, like there's players you think, ooh.
Yeah, if they lose a couple of members of that spine of that team, I mean, just losing Salah, it's like where
African nations coming up in Jan.
That's going to be the tricky thing, them get through the African Cup of Nations. But yes, I suppose the Jota thing is, we've been so used to that front 3 for a number of seasons, and now Firmino either gets dropped to the bench or he's injured at the moment. But he's done great. I think he has scored lots of goals.
Jota.
Do
you accept Jota?
I accept Jota because I think Liverpool have to accept. They have to bring in other players, and it won't be like replacing Firmino. But
I want a nice bunch of fancy transfers in Jan. I want to see Jude Bellingham. I want to see him go into Liverpool. I want to see Haaland go to City.
We can't have everyone.
I want to see lots of players all moving about. I love a transfer window.
I mean, at the moment, we were talking about Zidane to Man United during the week because that was the rumour. Although apparently he doesn't want to go. Apparently he's being lined up for. Poch will go to United. Zidane will go to PSG. Apparently that's the rumour.
The merry-go-round.
The old merry-go-round. But if Zidane had come, you would think, well, that's almost every big name manager under the sun, man, back in the Premier League at the moment. It's kind of incredible.
It's almost becoming. You don't need a Super League because the Premier League is becoming the Super League by itself.
Yeah,
and that's why the Super League idea was sort of challenged, I suppose.
Yes,
and the Germans did have some ethics.
They did.
When Gary Neville was talking about like mostly Solskjaer and City's preeminence and Liverpool if they get injuries and all that, he also talked quite a lot about going to Crystal Maze.
I knew you'd say that. I thought that as well.
Quite a lot
about the Crystal Maze.
Made me sort of want to go.
Well, mate, I went on Friday.
What do you mean? As a result, or just by chance?
No, just by chance.
Wow.
I was when I heard him say that, I was like, this is mad. Why did you went? I went. So
where did you go?
I did. I went. It's on Shaftesbury Avenue in central London, and
Who'd you go with?
I went with some friends / old colleagues.
Do you wear a jumpsuit?
You don't wear a jumpsuit. No, you wear your normal clothes.
What's it like in there?
It's really brilliant. I have to say, I loved it. I mean, partly because I won 2 crystals. No bragging.
What did you get for that?
You get 5 seconds per crystal in the Crystal Maze at the end.
What did that get you?
Well, look,
there's too many layers to this.
Ultimately, what
do you get to be in a Crystal Maze?
Did you watch the Crystal Maze? Do you know what the Crystal Maze is?
Yeah, it's loads of glitter flying around in the air.
Okay,
you get it.
Fully understood it, has it?
I believe I was touted as a potential host. I remember looking and seeing glitter flying around the air. Some was gold and some was silver.
And that's why you failed your interview in which your Mauricio got the job.
They made the right choice.
They did. Yeah, so look, the whole point is that, ultimately, there's no prize. You're playing for points, but the point...
Yeah, but you ask Brucey, he'll tell you this, and I don't mean Steve, I mean Brucey Forsyth.
Okay.
Points mean prizes. That's what points mean.
Well, the prizes in this...
Look at points in the Prem. Prizes.
Prizes in this case.
Points don't mean nothing. That would be their slogan. And what do points mean? Nothing. They mean nothing. It's nihilistic, Gal.
Well, you get to be in a league table, ultimately. So we all love league tables.
I do love those. Did you...
We didn't do very well.
Did you do best among your pals, even?
Most of us got 2 crystals.
What did it require for you to get 2 crystals?
Well, you eat... I mean, have you ever seen the crystal? I don't know how much of it I need to explain. This is what I get.
You had to walk across a bench or something, balancing on your little feet, and someone's shouting
out.
It's
more complex than that.
Someone's shouting, "Careful, gal!" Like that down a hole.
That kind of thing, yeah.
Well, go on. Tell me one thing you did that day.
Well, there's all sorts of things. They're divided into, types of games. So some of them are physical, some of them are mental, some of them are, whatever.
Yeah. Go on, tell us one of the best ones.
You solve puzzles. I was put in to do 2, I think, physical ones because people think or
They see you as a bit of a hunk.
Well, I don't know about that, but they maybe think that I was...
They see you as a sex object.
I hope so. Anyway, it was a lot of fun. The reason I can't tell you because they're fairly intricate and they're maybe a little.
Well, I wish you would
boring.
tell me. It's very mysterious. I feel like you're in the Illuminati, and I've gone, "What are you guys actually? How are you actually coordinating this global conspiracy?" And you're like, "Oh, it's difficult. I've got a crystal."
You have to jump across to islands and pick out skulls and put them over things.
Is it dark? Do you bang your head?
Yeah, there's bits where you go through little tunnels in the dark, and it's very exciting.
I get scared of things like that. Are you competing in a very direct way? Are you against the clock?
You're against the clock. Yeah, you have 2 minutes in each one, and then if you don't come out in time,
get me out.
That's it.
Then you left in. Did anyone get left in?
Someone did.
Who? What'd they do? That's the rest of the afternoon. Just go Trocadero.
Well, you can hand a crystal over.
Buy your way out.
Buy your way out. So you have to decide as a group. Do we want?
Did you buy them out?
We did. Of course we did. Because we weren't doing this for the actual.
Because the crystals mean nothing. So you might as well give it back.
Look, you can't.
There's nothing at stake.
Yeah, but Russell, as we've said before, if you apply that logic to you can apply that to everything.
Go on then.
What? Football, family,
millions of pounds, the joy, countless communities.
Well, look. Anyway, it was a lot of fun.
I think it should be played.
I won't have you ruin this again.
I think Crystal Bay should be played by extremist terrorist groups against each other.
It kind of feels like it is, mate. It feels like it is. When you're in there, there was a bit at the beginning when the Richard O'Brien version of Richard O'Brien comes out. He's probably like a drama school actor who was brilliant.
Was he?
I was so cynical. I was like, "Oh, who's this?
Did you like him more than me?
Who's this guy gonna be?" And then he popped out and was amazing.
Did he have a long coat on?
No, he didn't dress like him. He was in a weird costume, actually. That was a little bit strange.
What was it?
Of a snowman. It didn't make any sense. Yeah.
Oh, this is mental.
Because they tried to add additional narratives.
Christmas narrative.
Like, you have to save me from melting. But then so obviously, there's a kind of, at the start of that, you're like, this is weird.
It's like an Edgar Allan Poe story.
But he proved himself. He was very efficient, very good. He was like Richard O'Brien, but not like a direct copy.
Do you mean intense and sort of camp?
Yes, exactly. But and very intense. But really knew all the games, and it's brilliant. Like, as you're passing from zone to zone,
how many different humans do you encounter?
We've got to get back to football at some
point. It gripped me, that, didn't it? It gripped me, but it annoyed me.
Gary Neville.
So you listened to Gary Neville, and you actually were living in a parallel. I was affected by that, and I'd not recently been to a crystal maze. So for you, it must have been like...
Yeah, it was astonishing.
It must have been as if reality is a web, and the consciousness of different individual nodes where the threads of that net interconnect with each other. You must have experienced reality as a sort of a glorious oneness.
Yeah, I did. And there were moments when I heard him talk about the crystal maze where I thought...
It seemed like he'd had a pretty good time.
He did, yeah. I think he did he say 10 crystals?
Got 10 crystals, me and my daughter.
We got 9, but not as good.
Well, he's an elite athlete.
There you go. But there was a moment when he was talking about it that I thought, soon I'll be talking about this also. And maybe...
Now I am.
Yeah, maybe I am him. Or maybe...
Right, we're all one.
Yeah.
And it's expressing ourselves through subjective points of consciousness, but there is one reality.
Yeah, and I thought to myself, he does speak very well, Gary Neville. And then I thought...
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah,
we all do. He's got nice arms. Right, now, Eddie Howe has got COVID.
Yes.
It's not good, is it?
No, not for your first week. Just
got a new job, get COVID.
Not for your first week.
Buck up.
Yeah, wouldn't you do everything in that week to avoid...
Do everything you can, Eddie.
Yeah.
This is a time to really...
Nothing can stop me now.
Hold a minute, this pie's tasteless.
And of course it's a pie. We're in Newcastle.
Because we're in Newcastle. What else we have? This brown ale doesn't have the usual
No, that's
stout.
how it's meant to taste.
This is bland as hell. Wait a minute.
That's right. Welcome to Newcastle.
My defence is badly organised. I must have COVID. No, seriously, that's why we've brought you here, mate. Joe Linton keeps falling over in front of goal. Yeah, I must have COVID. No, well, you have actually got COVID, but also Joe Linton, that's one of the things. Make it a priority to Joe Linton. Joe, stand up.
Yeah.
And don't go down on the ground.
Day one.
It's vertical,
yeah,
Joel. Is
really...
it Joel Linton? Is it one word, Joe Linton? Or is it Joe, new word, Linton?
I think it's one word.
He's Joel Linton.
Yeah.
Where's he from? Brazil?
They got him from Germany.
Joe Linton.
But he is Brazilian.
Thought so. Okay, so and what about that bit, Gail, that we were discussing? Are you watching Eddie Howe? Like the commentator on Match of the Day said, "Are you watching like the centre back score? Was it Lascelles scored?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Are you watching Eddie Howe?" I say, "What's the least you can do, mate?
Yeah.
He's not turned up to work. He's got COVID on day one. At least put the telly on.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you've got debilitating COVID, in which case, all right, leave yourself in the hands of medical
We'll
experts.
see you after 10 days.
But if it's got a mild case." Get the telly on and start giving some notes. Note 1, Joe Linton, stand upright.
up.
Sam Maximan, be careful with that celebration.
Yeah.
No wonder you have to bind your wrists up like a little Japanese lass's foot.
I know.
Like in traditional Japanese culture.
It's like he's goading them. He's goading
his own wrists.
Yeah, well, no, I was going to say like the owners or the fans. Like to say, I'm so important that when I do a celebration, it's going to be overly risky, and you're going to feel it in that moment of how important I am.
Steady, Sam Maximan.
Please don't do that.
Double flip he done.
I mean, impressive.
Beautiful. He's a shamanic figure.
He really is.
He's got those bandages around his wrists.
Yellow
He's got bandages around his head. Yeah, different colour now.
Yeah. I
Amazing.
wonder what the significance of the colours is.
I'd like to talk to him and know exactly what makes
I think
him
he's
tick.
brilliant.
Then, as we discussed, he's wonderful. And then we discussed, the commentator went on to say he's bouncing around in his room.
Yeah.
This is resonating around, like he really
Reverberating.
Reverberating.
He said somewhere in a hotel in Newcastle, Eddie Howe will be bouncing around the room, and the room will be reverberating. And I thought,
bloody hell,
mate, how do you not? Surely you've used the words
bouncing,
hotel room, bouncing, and reverberating. You must know what you're doing.
You're getting what you do. No, listen, I'll tell you what happens. Is that he's strayed into, there are two tracks running. There's your conscious mind, your unconscious mind. And he's inadvertently, he's started to formulate a different idea. Like Sarah Silverman once said this funny thing, that sometimes in scripts, people unconsciously put things, like if it's badly written, they go, the character will say, "This doesn't make sense." And it's like, because the writers dealing with their own human problem of writing. This is bad. This doesn't make sense that this is happening right now. Yeah, it doesn't. It's badly written. This shouldn't be happening. And like that commentator's like realising he's edging ever closer to saying, Eddie Howe is masturbating in a hotel room. And like he's sort of trying to stop himself saying it, but he's actually saying it. But if Eddie Howe has got COVID, he shouldn't be bouncing and reverb. He should be sitting down.
Still.
Taking whatever tonics are sanctioned, which is his concern and his business. All right, I think so. I think we've covered that now, haven't we?
Yeah.
Jenny, what are you going to say?
It is now 60 minutes.
All right, so we've done a good job. All right, so look, there's the predictions. I can't do the predictions.
Hold on, I'll go get them.
You give me the wrong bit of paper.
Right, can I feel a few things whilst you do this?
Yeah, go on.
There are too many yellow kits in the Premier League this season.
Wolves,
oh
Lela.
My God, it's unbelievable. Right,
Norwich, Lela. Brentford were playing in Lela away.
Yes, they were. Arsenal away.
Lela.
Yellow. Brentford third. Yellow. Brighton.
They were all yellow.
Brighton third. Yellow. Arsenal. Chelsea away. Yellow. Crystal Palace away.
Yellow. They were all yellow.
What's going on with all the yellow? Because Liverpool third. Yellow.
There's that cream one they wear as well, which I quite like. Like what I think it is do you know what's happened collectively? The collective consciousness, people have gone, do you know what there ain't enough of? Yellow.
Right.
And then they've all done it. And they've all panicked. And everyone thinks all yellow now.
Southampton third.
Yellow.
Mate, it's Watford home.
Yellow.
Have I got any more? That's all of them.
Jenny got 3 exact. Sorry if the. Right.
No.
That's too much yellow. It's too
much yellow.
All right, so any other observations?
Yeah, I do have a few more observations.
No purple.
Did you see the Scouse guys in the, what am I actually saying, in the Villa stand?
No.
Like, you know the Harry Enfield Scouse guys with the hair
the curly
moustache.
Scouse.
There was Villa fans doing that because of Gerrard. I do love that.
Yeah.
I love that when it happens. You know, it happened with the Newcastle takeover as well.
Yeah, and they dressed up like nativity play Arabian folk.
Yeah, and then they were told by the club to not do that.
That's sensitive what you've done there. That's the least you... Well, that just shows you what's wrong with the culture. Yes. Don't get the fans to dress up. Oh, it's all right that journalist got nutted off by the Saudi Arabian regime. Just don't let them Geordies put a tea towel on their head. Like, look... Just focus on reality.
I know. It's brilliant that we've got this takeover by the Saudi Arabians. However, the real issue here is dressing up.
We've dealt with this. We've managed to make sure people dress up. Oh, that's good. They say, well, we're going to do about the human rights issues. Well, we're just making sure no Geordie fellas put a tea towel on their heads. Should solve it.
exactly. And again with that's endearing. You could say,
endearing.
It's
not hateful.
It's not hateful, is it? It's them like welcoming Gerrard.
It's a laugh.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, I thought that was lovely. And Gerrard in general, again, I'm pleased he's there. He is intense. Don't you think he's intense?
Yeah, he's brilliant. He's well intense, Steven Gerrard. He's well intense.
I noticed a lot of tie. The classic Football Manager uniform of shirt and tie and then a V-neck jumper over the top.
Oh, has he gone for that?
A lot of them. That's his manager.
Go-to. He did that at Rangers and he's doing it now. V-neck jumper. That's actually school uniform.
It is. It's school uniform. Loads of managers do it. Brendan Rodgers does it. And I noticed the V was far too high up to the point where you couldn't...
Impinging on the knot.
You couldn't see any...
covering the knot.
You couldn't see any shirt.
Brendan.
You could hardly see any tie.
So it's just like he's got a big Adam's apple down there, like Ronaldo.
That was it.
Oh, no, don't do that,
and I
Brendan.
thought, if you can't get a shirt and tie right, you're not getting the Man United job.
No way.
No. You won't get Champions
No way
League.
you're going to get the job of managing that big gang of billionaires.
Not happening.
Not happening, mate.
Now, one last observation, and we haven't talked Antonio being flown by a private jet back from Jamaica.
He deserves to be flown.
He does, but it didn't work, did it?
The problem is
maybe
that
it overwhelmed him.
I've been on private jets, as you know, and you have as well.
I have. You're right.
With old Russ.
Yes.
I have.
Yep, we went to Ireland, didn't we, Jengo?
Yeah, we also went to Calgary and we went to Monterey.
Jen, you're making it look like we're too often on private jets now.
And to our money pile.
We went to Canaria, that was it, the one where they do the tax stuff. Went to Panama Papers. Yes, but I like to think of Michail Antonio. Who travels with him? Do you think he has an assistant and stuff? Being on there in little pyjamas and that.
Yeah.
All relaxing, coming back from Jamaica. Didn't he get a couple of goals and all for Jamaica, I think?
Well, he did well for Jamaica, but not too well for West Ham.
Damn, we shouldn't have let him go to Jamaica. He should have been selected for England.
This is what Tony Cottee said last week.
Tony Cottee warned us of this.
He did.
Why won't we heed the wise words of TC?
Absolutely.
And then West Ham lost. I had a feeling we were going to lose.
Did you?
It's ruined my weekend a bit. Yeah. I've not looked at it. I didn't watch it. I stopped watching it.
Of course, that's what happens. It builds you up and tears you down. Like if your team...
Now I'm worried. I'm thinking now it's as if we didn't beat Liverpool.
And that's it. Immediately it goes back to the same thing.
It's the same thing.
It's like it didn't happen.
It's like that didn't happen now. That's why they keep us on a hook, on a line.
They do.
All right, so look, we did these predictions. Basically, this is, I think, the real news from the predictions. Is Jenny May Finn, a woman who plainly admits and brazenly claims that she don't care about football.
Yep.
Look, go on, give us some observation about football, Jen.
I do like football. I just prefer playing it than watching it.
Well, she's in a way.
I find it boring. Like watching it. Why do you want to watch someone else do something you like doing?
Intercourse.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Why didn't you say it, Jen? It
would
have
I
been more
thought
acceptable.
People shouldn't really associate that with what I think in my head.
They shouldn't associate.
If I start saying I prefer to
have sex and to watch porn. But what's wrong with that? That's a normal thing to think, isn't it?
But then I'm putting the image of me having sex in people's minds.
Oh no, but that only just happened.
You've
then.
just done that.
That just happened then. Up until that point, it hadn't happened.
It's like it was all leading to that.
No, because I would have said I prefer
and it wasn't that bad. It was only
sex.
fleeting. I just went, oh yeah, Jenny's a woman. She has sex. It wasn't a big deal in my mind.
Yeah.
Why would it be a big deal?
This is now a big deal, isn't it?
Now you've gone hysterical, Jen. And now I think you're a pervert. Now I think
it's the same thing. I prefer playing football than watching football, and I prefer
having sex.
Oh, she's doing it again. She's repeating herself.
Watching.
I think these are all perfectly reasonable claims. Yeah. Perfectly reasonable. Well, anyway, pervert Jenny May Finn got 3 results spot on.
My word.
Like 3 points
so
in our system. In our predictor system, if you get the result right, you get a point. If you get the result right, you get 3 points. Jenny May Finn, which I think is the best anyone's ever done. I mean, she got this week. She got 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 points.
Wow.
She's like Maradona.
That's the most.
She's Nostradamus.
That's the most anyone's got.
She's Nostradamus.
I watched one too, which is...
I'm disgusted by that. I'm angry. And I only got 3 points because I was led with my head, with my heart, not my head.
Go on, what were yours, Ross?
Ones I got right. I got the result right, Liverpool, Arsenal. Anyone could get that. I got the result right, City, Everton. Anyone could get that. I got the result right, Spurs, Leeds. Whereas you, Gal, got the exact right result for City, Everton. And you got the result for Leicester, Chelsea, Norwich, Southampton, and Spurs, Leeds. But I mean, so I got 3 points. You got 6 points.
Hang on.
And
6?
Yeah, you got 6. Have a look. You can study it if you want. Look, let's wrap up. We'll be doing these results next week. Next week's fixtures. Like we'll do the predictions off air and we'll post them as part of our content. But there's some great fixtures: Arsenal, Newcastle, Palace, Villa, Liverpool, Southampton. Who have the Mighty Hammers got? West Ham are playing a little football club in Manchester by the name Manchester City. So that's 3 easy points for us there. Chelsea, Man U, the big game.
That's huge.
Yeah, that's a big game under Carrot. But the United can't rally there. You can't rally at the Bridge.
This is the thing about the interim.
Go on.
If United rally and beat. You know what it's like every week. We said it in the first podcast. Every week at Man United this season will be a soap opera, and it has proven to be the case.
Did we say that?
We did, yeah. And it will continue.
Brilliant.
It will continue to be the case because if in some mad world
reason they beat Chelsea,
what will people be saying?
I should get Carrot. He's good at this. It's a weird coincidence, but the Lord hath delivered unto us.
Everyone they were holding him back the whole time. He was the solution.
Right under our noses. Carrick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no.
Well, I look forward to it. I want it to happen for that reason.
That would be good, and also because Chelsea would have lost there.
Yeah, but
that means that maybe West Ham could beat City.
Chelsea are in incredible form.
All right, so thank you for your contributions. Remember to review our show. Remember to send us, use the hashtag footballisnice and communicate with us on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, wherever you do your communication. Sign up to my mailing list. Come and see me live, do stand-up comedy. Dates are getting added in Scotland and in Blackpool, but get the dates that are available now and all. When's this going out? Tomorrow?
Yes.
Thursday. I still think you should do that thing of inviting footballers to your gigs.
Why?
Well, because it'll get the crowd behind them, won't it? Like, imagine you got to Newcastle,
it's distracting.
Yeah, people who don't care about football, but who's that person?
Well, we're doing it in Hull with Dean Windass.
Yeah, we'll get Dean Windass in Hull, but we don't have Joe Linton coming in, staggering about, Maximan flipping around, all up and down.
He could do your warm-up act.
Well, would he? Because he's
He wouldn't, would he?
Firstly, is he French?
Yes, I think he is.
He's not going to understand me.
Right.
But we'll get in touch. All right, I need a wee quite bad now.
Mate. Okay.
Football is nice.
That's all you're getting.